discussing gravity and levity.
Yeah, heaviness and lightness.
Yeah.
You got to feel that. A subjective perception of your body's condition or your mental condition.
Is levity always superior, let's say, to gravity?
Superior?
Yeah.
You can't say that. They have to be balanced. The light and the dark. Is light better than dark under certain conditions? It would appear that. Is dark better than light under certain conditions? You need night. You need daytime. So it really depends. They're there to balance one another. In other words, to be neutralized. It's true of all dualities and neutralization. Yes, no, high, low, male, female, creative, receptive, outflowing, inflowing, and all that. All useful in their own right, but then the ultimate purpose is to cancel each other out as extremes, so opposites are transcended.
So do you look at the material conditions as being, let's say, a vehicle for the higher mind?
The higher mind is all pervasive, all conditions. And so it is possible that a person is born without an awareness of the higher mind, and yet through yogic practice or athletics or some other stressful, physically stressful activity, you start to feel the pressure of the higher mind. Say, sharp mind, light mind, quick mind, creative mind, because the pressure build up. No hardship, no genius.
Should we invite pressure?
Depends on what you know you're doing. See, no hardship, no genius. If you don't train to give your creative spirit expression, then you get what you get. But if you train for extreme, then it will use you at the extreme level. If you train a little bit, if that's enough for you, then so be it. Depends on what you feel is the pressure you're willing to bear yourself. If we're talking about yoga, it's the same thing. How much pranayama do you do before you pass out? How much chanting you do before you pass out into unconsciousness? How much food do you need to abstain from before you pass out?
Would you call this creating our own reality?
Well, you're creating a different reality. You're recreating your assumed reality, right? By doing native practices which are really based on science, right? Unless you push yourself, you're going to be mediocre. So instead of just walking a half a mile, you might want to push to 10 miles, because you can do it, and you might feel better after you do it. Because it might take that much time to burn up what you have in you that needs to be burnt up. Could be 10 miles, could be 5 miles, but it could also be 20 miles. So you only know if you do it.
So do we, if we're trying to develop spiritually, do we seek out extremity?
No, you have to be moderate and be as extreme as you can handle, whatever that means to you. For somebody, letting go of 1 meal a day is extreme. Just thinking about fasting is extreme for them. So, what, no food? No food? Are you crazy? You're not eating? What's wrong with you? I've heard this. What, you fasted for 5 days and you're still playing? Yeah, still standing up? You're not dead yet? I said, no, feel better. Depends on your system, your relationship to your system. You got to go beyond these myths about what your limits are if you're a practitioner. Because you have the vital body you have to master, includes sleeping and eating and sexing to a certain degree. Right? Pleasure. And so when this pleasure is kind of like moderated and forced to come up, then you have other pleasures. That's what the chakra system, the kundalini is about. Higher pleasures. See? Not that you have to do that, but of course you know I had to do that. I had to find out for me. I had to prove it to myself the yogis weren't mad. I'm mad, but not the yogis. Yeah. So you need to test these things for yourself. You hear about it, you don't know if it's going to work for you or not. Like the breathing exercises are powerful. Your breathing, shamatha training, which is calming yourself down. It's very powerful. It seems like, oh, you're becoming passive. Oh, you're becoming passive, but you're also becoming active. So it's like passive, active. Right? In other words, you're slowing yourself down to empower something that you otherwise will know. It's like coming to a stop. Then you recognize and experience the power of movement once you stop. Yeah. You're not supposed to stop, right? You're supposed to be moving all the time, right? For some people. And when you get to that still point, you might go deeper. You might break through the barrier of stillness and motion. Now, who knows what's awaiting you there? It might be what is called free action.
So would you say that, in a sense, spiritual practitioners are trying to create combat conditions for themselves?
Create combat?
The equivalent of what combat conditions do in...
Well, you want to test yourself, like people who go to these gymnasiums for training, right? Gym training. You're going there to sweat. You're not going there to kill yourself, but you need to feel you're sweating, obviously. You're giving yourself a good workout and you're accomplishing something, right? And the medical practitioners say, well, you're getting the toxins out of your system. Great, they're coming out of your skin and so on, and your sweat. So it's purifying to a certain degree. The running is purifying. And so, but that's not torture, but that's practice. Pushing yourself. And you say, I ran 2 blocks. I think I can do 3 blocks. Right? Before you know it, you're running around the neighborhood. And you said you just wanted to do a block because you were so gravitated. It was a big deal for you to do a quarter of a block just to get up and go off to a stoop and go onto the sidewalk. It was a big deal. Then all of a sudden you're flying, like a flying machine. So then that's relative. So it's not about torture. It's testing the limits and being intelligent and wise with what you're imposing on your body. Know what is wise. There's a sweet spot in there. This is wise to do. This is, yeah, okay to do, but maybe not so wise. Yeah, you can try that too. And you can show up looking this way, yeah, if you want to look that way. Or you go wise, and you say, no, my body feels the goodness of the wise approach.